Have you ever watched a movie that felt like one continuous heartbeat? Where every shadow hides a secret and every camera movement tells a story beyond words? Sam Mendes' 1917 isn't just a war film. It's a cinematic illusion, a technical ballet, and a storytelling masterpiece. But there are things hidden in plain sight, choices in cinematography, performances, and direction that most viewers completely miss. And today, we're peeling back the curtain. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a deep cinematic breakdown. I'm director Ammar Hejazi, and this is where we look deeper, not just at what movies show us, but at what they hide. Let's start with the most talked about element of 1917. The one-shot illusion. What most viewers don't realize is how much this decision shapes every department, from lighting to acting to production design. The film appears as one continuous shot, but it's actually stitched together with clever hidden cuts, behind walls, in darkness, even masked by a body passing in front of the lens. But why do it? Because it traps us in real time. We don't get to breathe unless the characters do. We don't get to blink. The cinematographer Roger Deakins and Mendes use this technique to keep us tethered, emotionally and physically, to Blake and Schofield. And here's the hidden genius. The film isn't just immersive because of the technique. It's tense because of what it avoids. There are no flashbacks, no montage, no score-driven climax. The horror is constant, just like war. There's a moment at night, you'll remember it, where Schofield runs through a bombed-out town lit only by flares. The lighting there isn't just for atmosphere, it's the narrative. Those flares act like a strobe, flashing between safety and danger. 1 second Schofield is hidden in shadow, the next he's exposed. This rhythm of light and darkness mimics a heartbeat, adding subconscious stress to the viewer. Also, pay attention to how framing is used to isolate the characters. The camera often leads them, not follows them, and that subtle choice gives us anticipation rather than reaction. We're not watching war, we're being pushed through it. Now here's something many miss. 1917 isn't dialogue heavy. In fact, long stretches go by with almost no words. That's not just realism, it's design. Writers Mendes and Christy Wilson Cairns crafted a script where the environment, the pacing, and even objects carry the emotional weight. Think about the milk bottle in the farmhouse scene. It's a small detail, but becomes a symbol of life, loss, and desperation when Schofield later gives it to the baby. These aren't just plot devices, they're emotional anchors. Also, the lack of exposition means we learn everything about Schofield through action, not words. He doesn't talk about trauma, he flinches when touching a body. He doesn't monologue about hope, he runs through enemy fire to deliver the message. Imagine being an actor, and knowing you have 8 uninterrupted minutes to deliver your performance with no chance to reset. That's the pressure actors George McKay, Schofield, and Dean Charles Chapman, Blake, worked under. The hidden brilliance of their performances is consistency. They have to track complex emotional arcs in real time. There's no cut. Let's try that again. Every stumble, every breath, every glance, it has to feel like the first time. Because it is. George McKay especially carries the film with physical storytelling. Watch how his posture changes after Blake's death. He becomes more closed, more haunted. The performance isn't loud, it's human, which in a war film is often more powerful than heroism. Sam Mendes does something remarkable. He makes the direction feel invisible, and that's one of the hardest things to do. Most war films lean into grandeur, sweeping shots, orchestral scores, heavy speeches. Mendes instead gives us urgency and intimacy. He trusts the audience to discover meaning rather than feeding it to us. The biggest example? The race across the trench scene. Rather than building it up, Mendes drops us into it. No setup, no heroic music, just Schofield running, falling, colliding with soldiers, and that's the genius. It's chaos, and chaos feels real. Mendes understands something most directors forget. Sometimes, stillness is louder than spectacle. Notice how often the camera pauses, just enough for us to feel the weight of the world around the characters. So here are a few final hidden gems to watch for. The cherry blossom petals floating in the river, they tie back to the orchard. Blake talks about earlier, a quiet visual callback that adds emotional depth. Schofield's ring finger is bandaged, a detail never explained, but symbolic of personal loss before the film begins. Every transition between takes is masked, but one of the hardest cuts to spot, the fade to black when Schofield is knocked out. It's not just a trick, it gives us a time jump and shows how disoriented he is. And finally, notice how the story ends the way it began, with Schofield leaning against a tree. It's a subtle mirror, a bookend, showing that although the world around him has changed, his burden remains. 1917 is more than a film. It's a cinematic experience layered with choices you don't see on first viewing. But now you do. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives. I'm director Ammar Hejazi, and I'll see you in the next one, where we keep uncovering the stories behind the screen.